Welcome to another week, another episode of IBG Weekly. I am your host and founder of Iron Blood Games, Achille Rangamohotige, and I am joined by Bhupati Sangeet, our tech lead, and our writer, Stani, lead writer. My bad. That's such a bad start, isn't it?
Well, that was okay for the most part.
Yeah, you can edit this chat bit out anyway, right? Right. Okay. So before we dive into what's hot out there, if you haven't checked out our previous episodes, you can click on the top right corner for it and go check it out. Let us know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. So today we have the topics lined up for us. We don't really have any development news as of yet. This is the out of the week, and the team has been basically helping our family out, getting ready for the festivities. So today's topics: Sekiro Easy Mode. Do we need that? Then we have Ubisoft. There was a cool interview by IGN, and they revealed a bunch of stuff. It's really interesting. And BioWare is our main topic, okay, for the day. So get your thoughts in order for that. And we have basically Epic copying Apex. That's is it a healthy thing? And I'd like to get your opinions. And our final topic is that Prince Harry. You guys know who Prince Harry is, I hope. Prince Harry has he wants to ban Fortnite in the UK. I took a pause there because I was like, I mean, we all know Queen Elizabeth, but you know.
Cue the claps.
Yeah, that'll solve it.
Prince Harry saying, yeah, ban Fortnite in the UK. So we'd like to
Cue the applause. Thank you. Thank you, Prince Harry. Very cool.
So let's get started, shall we? Sekiro Easy Mode, guys. So as you know, that there has been some very interesting posts by these game journalists. Some game journalists are saying that it is disrespectful for the player that Sekiro does not have an easy mode, because it's like they don't trust the player to basically not spoil the experience for themselves and stuff. What they're saying is that an easy mode needs to be in a game like a Soulsborne game, so that if players choose to, they can just enjoy the story and so on and so forth. What are your thoughts on this? Let's start with Stani, actually.
Yes. So the only From Software game that I've played so far is Bloodborne. And after that, then I played Dark Souls 3 for a bit and Dark Souls 1. It was in my early days, but I believe that it's their thing. Like it's something you can't really expect them to change their direction. I think that it's coming from someone that, you know, if you need an easy mode, you just simply there's an easy mode if you don't want to play that game. It's the most easiest way to go about it. I think that it's pretty disrespectful for the developers' intended vision. I don't know. What's your thoughts on this, Bhupati?
All right. Here's the deal. The thing with asking for a easy mode is that kind of shows that what kind of gamer you are. You know, even if you are a casual gamer, the skill you possess is something that you can work on. You know, I mean, you buy a game because you want to play it, right? So, I mean, there's been like how many Soulsborne games so far? 6 now, right? With Sekiro, it's like 6. It's Demon Souls, and then 3 Dark Souls games, and Bloodborne, and then now Sekiro, right? So this is the 6th installment. So they know what they were getting into, right? So when you play the game, you know it's going to be hard. So why can't you just take some hours, you know, a couple of days, and just really get into it and get better, because Soulsborne games are all about that. It's not about actually killing bosses and just completing the game. It's about like
Honing the skills.
yeah, exactly. It's about being better version of yourself, in terms of playing games. It's about those skills that you need to possess, the thinking, the reactions, all that. So
Yeah.
I think it's really important that Soulsborne games have that identity to it. I mean, you shouldn't really change that. And the thing is that they have this really interesting argument where they say having an easy mode. Now people say having an easy mode ruins the experience of the game, and they say that as of now there are no easy mode officially, but there are mods. So that means people are cheating, and some people are just playing it, as usual. They just grind and grind until they, get over some obstacle, right? So for the people who played seriously, there's no way of ruining their experience, because some people are using mods. That's what their argument is, that having mods never really ruins the fun for other people. But I would say like it's kind of demeaning, because I mean, one person really plays the game for hours and hours and is trying to get a win, and this other guy is just installing a freaking mod and just do a couple of slashes and bam, a boss is gone, right? So that's really not how the developers intended this gameplay experience to be. I mean, in game designing, the thing is that you need to expect how the players play the game, right? So it has to be in a way that they have planned how players should feel and experience. So it's like bypassing the whole thing, the whole experience, and just finishing the game. I mean, what's the point in there? It's such a futile thing. So I'm really against it.
Yeah, I agree with all that.
Yeah, I agree. I totally. It's a good thing that Bhupati brought up this topic about community based like hacking things. It's okay to use mods, and if you want to play the game in easy mode, but asking the developers to implicate the easy mode, it's just like so disrespectful in terms of both like from developers and the community fan base that these From Software has for years right now. I think it's like I'm pretty sure that if From Software's looking forward to complete this thing, they should actually consider adding an AC mode. Like if you have played the Phantom Pain, do you remember that there's this mode where they are like Snake gets this.
He gets a chicken head if you play it in easy mode. He runs around with
NPCs like pretend that they don't care, they don't see you, they're like you confused and stuff like that. They should actually do that instead. It's Sekiro is all
it's
about.
It's like it makes fun of the player for playing in that mode. It's so good. It's so good.
From what I've gathered, playing Sekiro is all about finishing beating the boss according to a timing. So if the timing misses, you're gonna get in another way. So either.
I mean, that's how all Soulsborne games are. You gotta get the timing right.
It's the genre, isn't it? I mean, that's what we need to really focus on here, and the journalists need to remember is that this is a Soulsborne game. A Soulsborne game's unique point is this ridiculous toughness. The fact that each of these bosses and encounters that you come against is either a puzzle or a deep challenge for the player to overcome. Coming out of it, the player will feel immensely like an immense sense of achievement once they get over each of these bosses. And you can't deliver that epic feeling, that epic win feeling, if you made the game any easier, you know? So what FromSoft are doing is, in fact, giving incredible respect to the player and letting him feel that epic win scenario in a single player game constantly per each boss encounter. And I think that's something that FromSoft needs to stick to. That is their formula, and it works 100%. Please don't pay attention to these articles.
I mean, if Shadow of the Colossus got under the radar and people still play it to this day, I don't know why people have problem with Sekiro, because from my point of view, what I think is that Shadow of the Colossus is all about grinding. It's the 7 Colossus are like really hard to beat, even in the remastered edition.
Forget that. The first Souls game, the Demon Souls and Dark Souls 1. Dude, those stuff are super hard, man, because we had like insane amount of bugs as well. And collision detection was like super bad at that time. You could get like killed without being near the boss, you know, just die suddenly. So I think that people just look past all these Souls game and just focusing on Sekiro. I mean, why suddenly? Why do you need easy mode suddenly? Because there has been 5 games so far, you know.
Yeah, another thing that I remember was a while ago. Do you guys remember a game called Cuphead that came out? Right. That game had a review by some journalist who couldn't get past the tutorial phase or something. He couldn't get past that level, and he was bashing on it, and he gave it a really bad score and all that. And what it revealed is that these game journalists, a lot of them, really don't know how to play games, nor are they gamers. So, I'm getting the feeling that like this Soulsborne, so they learned a lesson from just calling a game that is really hard being flawed, right? Now they're spinning the story as if it's disrespecting the player. Yeah, guys, get on our side. No, man, you're shit. Right, get good is what a lot of people need to.
You're just going after the money.
Yeah, exactly.
Not the experience.
Exactly, and what they need to understand is that you're not fooling anyone. Just because you are bad at the game doesn't mean that the game is bad. You need to focus more on delivering exactly why this game is bad, game mechanic wise, and just because the game is tough isn't a reason for the game being bad. The game being tough is the whole point of that game. Cuphead, Soulsborne games, these are meant to be tough games that provide a huge challenge. And
but it's tough, but it doesn't mean that
it provides the challenge. These are challenging games purpose built for the player to overcome, and that's the whole experience. So that's the delivered experience. That's why you pay $60 for that game.
So what you guys think about Corey Barlog's comment on Sekiro having an easy mode? The director of God of War.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, God of War is like a completely different game, you know. I mean, it's very story-based, you know. It's more like an adventure, kind of, you know, like playing a movie or something. But that's not what...
It is cinematic, but he commented on the game saying that accessibility has never and will never be compromised to my vision.
Yeah, that's his vision, isn't it, for his game? So that's great, Corey, and all that. But what the FromSoft team is trying to deliver is not a God of War experience. What they are delivering is a Soulsborne experience, and a Soulsborne experience is not something that Corey could never design and create properly. These guys have got a lot of skills, because I observed Sekiro, honestly, and I thought about it, and I really thought about it, and I thought, Can any team build a game like this? And what I came down to is visuals. Visuals wise, sure, a team can come up with a similar looking game, but you can never give that level of detail to the level design, the boss encounters, and just the game's design is all purpose built to this one story. You know,
God of War 2. Have you guys played God of War 2?
Actually, I haven't personally. I don't think so. No.
it's annoying. It's same as Sekiro, but in the most parts, like you make one mistake and you
How is it?
goes like that. Yeah, it's pretty complicated in
But I
level
remember
design wise,
the
and
old God of Wars
yeah,
having difficulty modes, right? They had
yeah.
so like it really depends on what kind of difficulty you went in on, I guess. I remember playing, I think, God of War 3 or something, and I pretty much played it in medium mode simply because I wanted to get through it quickly. I wanted to just see the story points. I wasn't particularly interested. Anyway, we've been discussing this topic at length. So the summation is that Soulsborne games are its own unique experience, and these journalists, what they have made points on the game needing an easy mode is not really relevant, especially to this genre. And I think that every one of us would agree for that point. And so our next topic up is Ubisoft and the IGN interview. I think Stanny knows about this at length, and I'm really
Yeah,
excited about Splinter Cell.
yes.
Oh yeah.
It's a 44-minute interview. I didn't have time to watch the whole thing, but he did reveal some interesting things because it's pretty interesting if you have played Ghost Recon Wildlands and Sam Fisher makes an appearance, and yeah, it got me really excited
Really?
for the most part. But
Oh, I didn't know.
there was a special mission,
Yeah.
and Sam Fisher actually comes and he also even pays a tribute to Venom Snake. He's saying that, oh my god, I'm the only one in the field, and it was like so emotional in both ways. And I'm pretty sure that like Ubisoft is currently on a course to revive their old titles because I personally knew about Ubisoft
Oh,
through
like a
Splinter
shared
Cell.
universe. What you're saying, right? So
Yeah.
games like Splinter Cell, and for some reason they also had like missions in the in this game where the teams from Rainbow Six Siege was getting involved as well. There were missions where, like Caveira was actually apparently there's a mission where you have to save her because some stuff went down. So it might be that they're trying to build this like a connected universe, right? Between their game
it is
titles.
connected universe. Like if you take Watch Dogs and Assassin's Creed, so like there are some theories suggest that Watch Dogs may be the present day story of Assassin's Creed, and
Really?
Assassin's Creed is
Not present day. I mean, it's all connected.
it is all connected, but they are not like.
There was an Easter egg in Watch Dogs 1 as well.
Yeah. I mean, like the point being is that Ubisoft is actually going in a good cause, but I mean, I don't know how they're gonna make a Splinter Cell game because after Tom Clancy like passed away, and I don't know how they're gonna revive the series because without the original creator of the
because
franchise.
his writing is what really gave that game that all those epic moments, right? He came up with all the plots and all that. So can they find an equally talented team or a writer or someone who can come up with really great plots? We'll see. We'll have to see.
True.
Yeah.
That's true. But I hope they don't add any copy paste mission. Jesus Christ.
It's their style, though. I mean, when this is something that they keep making, right? Every one of their games has become an open world RPG mechanic game, right? So you see what has happened to Assassin's Creed. It's no longer Assassin's Creed, really. Where is the assassin part of Assassin's Creed, right? It's Creed.
Well, actually, no. Following the series, I can say that this is like, okay, now we've seen the origin of the assassins. Now Odyssey is not about the origin of the assassin, but it's actually a bridge between the present day and the past day story. So we are not going to see any assassins anytime soon, but they are actually promising that the next Assassin's Creed game is the last in the series of the Ancient Trilogy, and they are calling it the Ancient Trilogy. The Origins, Odyssey, and the next one. And after that, it will return to the the afterbirth of the Christ, and it's going to give
Really?
us more answers regarding the present day and the first
That's cool.
civilization.
Well, yeah, I mean, here's the thing, right? With the whole design element of Origins, for example, right? So it was, here's the story, this crappy stuff happened to you, and by the way, you need to kill these guys in these regions, and once you kill these guys, the next bunch above them will become accessible, and then you have to go kill those guys, and then kill the other set until you reach the final guy. And it's like, it's almost like the whole process of getting to them also is the same, you do a similar bunch of missions to unlock that boss, then you go kill him, and then I couldn't get to the end of that game. I got bored yet again, but I went further than other Assassin's Creed games, but I did get bored. Right? I like the RPG element. I really like that because all that customization, I like it because I like collecting bits and pieces and making myself look cool. That part had me going, but after a while I'm like, something else turned up. I'd rather play that instead. This feels like a job, more like a job than a game. I hate that part about games making the tasks feel so monotonous that you feel like you're doing a job instead of playing a game. That's very, to me, that's bad game design, honestly. So the SNL skit that that has happened for the Division, they are discussing the whole point is that the Division 2 has some really chatty NPCs. What did you guys think about that?
I mean, yes, Bhupati, what do you think?
Well, I personally don't care about Division. I never played it actually. But I don't know really what to say.
Well, yes, I played both of the Divisions, but I can say that SNL is. I totally agree with SNL, because I remember playing Division 1 and like every time I move or turn around, there will be like a NPC and just start talking, and I don't want to hear what you say because I just want to explore and shoot some guys, and like it's very getting really annoyed. And I mean, SNL is the latecomer of every party, and even they caught up with the gaming community. It's like really surprising. I'm like, surprised, dude. Okay, I mean, they just used the logo. And I'm pretty surprised how Ubisoft really handled this situation. They
took it in stride, didn't they? Their reply was that, hey, we fixed that issue, by the way. Good one. Thanks for embarrassing us.
If that was like a different company, like, for example, I don't know, if there's a hostile company like EA or something like that.
Oh, we're going to get to that later. Don't worry about that. We're going to get to that later.
Good parties coming always.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yes. We can segue right off that actually, into our main topic, which is BioWare and the Anthem release and the reveal by Mr. Schneider, Jason Schneider.
Yes, Jason Schneider.
He wrote an Schreier. My bad. Yeah. He did an in-depth he wrote an in-depth article on Kotaku and revealing exactly what happened during the development process of Anthem, and it's shocking, honestly.
Oh my God! Yeah.
And the whole idea, the short of it is that the development of the game was pretty much in limbo for the 5 of the 6 years that it was in development, and
7
years of development, and then in the final 16 or so months the game came together. So it all was put together in the final year of the game's development process, which is actually, it doesn't surprise me. It actually felt like a game that was built in like a year or two rather than a game that spent 7 years. And I kept on asking, like, what happened with this game? Exactly what happened? I want to know. 7 years. And we finally got the answer. And there's some really interesting reveals on that. And I'm going to let Bhupati actually start off this one.
All right. Okay. Here's the thing. I don't want to be a dick about this But I gotta say that gotta thank BioWare and EA for giving us this great lesson about what not to do in game development.
Yeah.
They're providing a lot of really good examples.
Yeah.
Like writing on your developers. I mean, your developers are basically your entire power. That's where you get your entire progression. So like you have to handle your developers better. It's like kettles. You gotta they are like
Kettles or cattles?
basically kettles. Sorry, what did I say? Kettles?
Kettles.
Yeah, like kettles. I mean, you gotta respect your developers first. The thing is that what went wrong with Anthem is actually the upper brass. The leaders, so called the upper management. They could really
They dropped the ball, right?
they can get out of the ideation phase of the game for 5 freaking years, and that is really concerning because I mean these guys get paid like insane amount of money. I mean what they were doing. I mean I don't know. They couldn't really get a handle of things until this particular person finally came into the development team. I don't remember his name, but he's some sort of a veteran from Dragon Age games. Apparently he came down and he put his foot down and started making decisions because nobody was making decisions. Everybody was chiming in on okay, let's do this, and the other guy would say like, oh no, let's do this. I mean, this looks good, but ultimately nothing was decided. There it was like a bunch of ideas and nothing else. I mean, how can you implement some sort of mechanic if you're not even sure what is the mechanic itself?
And meanwhile, while the management team is being indecisive, the developers of this project are in constant state of flux. They don't know if anything that they're creating is actually going to be in the game. So they were going through tremendous amount of stress, and they were talking about how there were what do they call it? Stress
casualties.
Stress casualties, exactly. Yeah. So and they were literally incapable of working because they were just overcome with anxiety and stress, and they couldn't come into work, and they would take 4 months of break for this. This is you're destroying the person's soul, and management calls this development the BioWare magic, and I'm pretty sure Stanny has some great pointers on that.
Well, I believe that people are going after BioWare is really unfair because if you read the article, you can clearly see that the project during the development phase and the EA has constantly changing the engine for some dumb reason, and
they're not.
They
say
no. They started off with
the fault that they did was they forced Frostbite on them.
Yeah, they were using Frostbite, but the engine they were going under certain development phase as well as some sort of update or something. In the article, it literally mentions
the engine wasn't going under updates. The engine's version was there, but they got some engineers basically to come help the BioWare team to basically add features to make the engine more easier to use for RPG games, right? They needed some features some core features were missing in the engine that required the engineers to come in and make changes to the engine itself, right? So in the middle, as this was happening, EA went and said, actually, we need these engineers to go help the FIFA team because FIFA makes us much more money than you guys. So they took the engineering, the Frostbite engineering team away from the BioWare team. So BioWare was basically, they had to deal with all those problems the Frostbite engine had with their core development team, which Well,
I
they
do-
struggled.
The general is that about my thoughts are that it's unfair that people are going after BioWare instead of EA for some reason, and also
I don't agree
No,
with
I
that.
am putting.
I mean
I
yes,
think it's BioWare's fault, like mostly.
Yeah.
I mean for most part when they announced it as Project Dylan, it was supposed to be the Bob Dylan of the video games, and finally it went through so many changes in the script as the development is going by. And initially they are calling it a Destiny clone, but instead it's not a Destiny clone; it's a Warframe clone, because Destiny is kind of a clone of Warframe, but
Destiny is shit, man.
Destiny is
Play
kind of
Warframe.
Warframe is kind of original.
But I think Destiny was more trying to be.
Yes.
The Destiny was also trying to take Borderlands-y elements, because you can see the amount of gun drops and stuff. The weapon drops.
I mean, like, for example, I think that it's solely on the publishers' fault and lack of leadership. I think that's not fair, because going after the developers is really unfair.
Well, here's the thing, right? The blame here, we don't. Everyone knows exactly who is to blame here, which is the management of the BioWare's head, right?
True.
Those guys dropped the ball. If any hate is put towards like the developers, as in your basic workers in BioWare, that's not fair. Because especially like for example, I believe BioWare Edmonton, the guys who had some experience in multiplayer, the guys who made the BioWare Star Wars MMO.
Oh yeah.
So they had pointers to give the main team, right? And they were ignored pretty much. And another part was that even the staff, certain developers were coming up to the management and saying, "Hey guys, these problems, we need to address them." They were ignored. And then when the game was shown to the was he the vice president executive of EA?
Some executive.
So here's the thing where Stan is going to get shocked, right? EA in this case actually helped Anthem more in a certain sense, because the guy played the first iteration of the game by BioWare, and he says, "Guys, this is disappointing. This is not what I need. Do it again. Show me something else." So these guys spent another 6 months, and you know what they did? They chucked in flying. They threw in the flying mechanic, and then this guy played it again, and he's like, "This is exactly what I wanted. This is exactly." And that game, the demo version that he played, was what they showed it in E3.
Yeah, I know that stuff.
So technically, because this guy from EA said, "Put these features that I just saw in this demo in the game," they had to go with flying. Flying wasn't intended to be in the game. They were actually taking it out. They initially decided it's not a feature they want to go with. And I'm like, wow, really? Just imagine Anthem without the flying. Yeah. So
what were they thinking?
Yeah, I mean, seriously, in this case, if blame is meant to be given, blame is meant to be given to management, and they need to really accept that, because the reply that BioWare gave out without even properly reading this article properly from Schreier was disrespectful.
I think EA is the one who replied, right?
What they say is that was like a corporate reply, almost like BioWare EA. The people who are at the top really put it together and just shoved it out, just vomited it onto their website, so that apparently they thought that that would really slap down the journalists and tell them to know their place, because they were actually blaming journalists not to be games journalists. They were asking them not to dig deep into the development processes of games and reveal it, is what they were like low-key trying to say, if you read between the lines there. And I 100% disagree. As small indie teams, seeing these things and hearing about them, right? It even helps other teams realize what their mistakes might be, because even within my team, when I read that BioWare's top the leaders weren't making decisions, they were just all in like a limbo, they weren't finalizing their thoughts. I was thinking maybe our LBW project really needs to nail down the stuff and just get on with it, instead of constantly discussing maybe we should do it this way or maybe we should do that. Enough planning, just get down to work,
I think the same thing happened with Sean Murray, No Man's Sky.
Yeah, I think he overpromised. I think that's what he did wrong, man. I think
no, actually he had all
got
the
too
ideas.
excited.
Yeah, he loved his game so much. He was so, you can see it in his face, dude. He was loving his creation.
Yeah.
It was his baby, And when he finally got to talk about it, he just let his heart out. And he ended up really giving us the people who were about to buy it a really different idea about what we were getting from the initial release of the game, right?
But actually, he actually resurrected the game.
Yeah, he did. See, that's the best part about him, right? So he saw that people were extremely disappointed. He didn't lash out. He basically hunkered down with his team. He brought them together, and then he delivered on all of those promises. Actually, he delivered on everything now. Exactly what he said in those interviews. You can do it now.
I hope BioWare does the same with Dragon Age 4.
I hope they do the same with Anthem, man. I hope they bring that game together. I don't know what they can do at this point, but I hope they do what Sean Murray did to his game, But I don't know. We don't know what will happen, because it looks like from the kind of reply that BioWare gave to that article, it looks like they haven't learned.
Kind of hostile,
Yeah, they were pretty hostile. It makes me sad, because BioWare, like all studios, it's like you keep hearing about the way they just change over time as they become more powerful and more wealthy.
I know, right?
Right? They change over time. EA itself used to be people who were so passionate about just games and the quality of their games. Now it's all about live services and the money. How do we monetize people?
It's always about the money.
I mean, like,
why?
BioWare is kind of blaming the guy who left the project early, but the same thing happened with Last of Us 2. I mean, Bruce Straley, he left Naughty Dog while the project was under development phase, and
the main writer was still there, right?
But still, it's the creative part we gotta consider.
I mean, it must have been a big hit, right, when he left. But I think exactly what same thing happened in BioWare. But when in BioWare, who was his? What was his name? I'm so bad with names.
Same here.
So anyway, the guy who initially came up with, I think, Anthem, the whole idea, right? He left. And what the leadership that was left with weren't really strong individuals who could just steer the ship. They couldn't make decisions like he could. He was the guy who was just nailing down, all right, after every meeting, there needs to be someone who says, okay, at this meeting we decided this, let's create it, it's done, it's, this is what's going to be in the game. But there was no one in that development, their management team that was there to make those decisions until the very end. I think, as you guys said, the guy from Dragon Age or something came in and he basically grabbed and steered this shipwreck. I mean, it was sinking. I bet he knew. I bet he knew it was sinking. So so our real thoughts about this is that really BioWare needs to respect games journalism more here, and they need to take these opportunities to grow and just be better. There's no such thing as BioWare magic anymore. It has been revealed exactly what BioWare magic is.
But the community, they really need to listen to their community.
That as well. They need to connect with them. This is not all about money. It's all about giving stick to what you say to the public in those public statements about creating a game, about all the experiences. Why don't you really believe in those lines that you give out and just focus on delivering those promises? You'll be fine. You just need to deliver on the promises. That is all you need to do. And then you're golden.
Yep.
So, the next topic, right? We've been really discussing a long time about BioWare here. So, Epic is taking some leaves out of Apex because Apex is now the Apex Predator of... I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. Apex is at the zenith of Battle Royale games. They are killing it with the number of players that are playing it, and it's like really popular. They did a lot of things right in that game, and now Epic, who was at the top, they are basically taking some are saying they are copying Apex, and some people think that's a bad thing. Some people think it's not such a bad thing. So what do you guys think? Bhupati?
I don't know. It was shitty for them to like completely rip off all the good things about in Apex. I mean, they're basically their competition. So they were like, oh, you know what? We're gonna get that too. Did that like literally like a week after, right? I'm like, dude, do you not have any sense of like originality? And this is the same guys who talked about not letting crappy games into their own platform. I mean. Yeah, I mean, literally, I mean, it's kind of like them accepting that Apex is better because, and they are like trying to catch up. I mean, they literally rip off all the good mechanics from Apex, right? So it's kind of like saying, you know what? We need to catch up with you guys as well, right? That was kind of funny.
I mean, I think for my part, if someone rips off me, I would be really pissed because, so if someone needs to come up with an original idea, how the process works. It's like almost you got to grind, think, and it's like a painful process to go through. And when it's finally done, and someone actually rips it off and just starts making money out of it, it's not fair because. I believe that if Fortnite was like a free-to-play, like a total free-to-play game, and they rip off something from Apex, I think that would be cool. But Fortnite makes like shit tons of cash. And I believe that it's not fair to rip off your competition. Like, it's the worst strategy any business model could have. I don't know who came up with it. I think that it's not fair that ripping out of your competition because just admit your defeat. That's all I'm asking.
I think they did by copying everything.
Yeah, they did, but they didn't intend to do that. But they did that. Now they look like it's nothing to say.
Well, I'm gonna say something controversial here to you guys compared to your pointers. I don't think this is a bad thing. I think that this is actually fair enough because the mechanics that Apex has, right? They aren't like these super unique things. Like, for example, the ping system, right? Pinging existed in Battlefield and all that, right? And it's almost like since these guys all work under EA, it's almost like they took inspiration from that pinging system on Battlefield, and they're like, why don't we let this make this a proper deep means for people to communicate because we are forcing them into squads and all that, right? And the other part is the respawn, right? I mean, that's really good thinking, right? But at the same time, for example, if Apex did anything where you can construct buildings in the middle of your Battle Royale thing, that's almost taking a very unique element, right? Construction. But respawning, the ability to respawn, that that's fair enough for Epic to just think, actually, that's a really good idea. We should allow our, the squad play to revive your teammates again. It's really risky. It's super risky, actually. It never works out. Sometimes in Apex, when you revive your squad, you just get hunted down by everyone because you see that ship coming. They know this weakling is jumping down.
Right.
Without any gear, he's going to be dropping down. So these elements that Epic took from Apex really just helped make their game better, right? And I always think like anything that you can get inspired from from your competitors or what other game developers are doing is always a good thing. Games will start competing with, now Apex will come up with some game changing element. Probably they need to stay at the top, right? Now if Fortnite has all these features, Fortnite has the upper hand with their building mechanic again, right? Because they have all the other features that Apex might have. So what I'm thinking is that it's always good to have this kind of like competition between games, so that the end user, who is the player, always benefits from that, because they just get better experiences. They get a better variant of a certain mechanic someone else might have done, right? There's always something good that happens when someone iterates upon an idea. And originally Battle Royale was PUBG, right? And PUBG was really, really mad about the fact that Fortnite came out. Fortnite was initially just meant to be a survival game, right? Fortnite's initial idea. Game. So the Battle Royale thing was that they just saw PUBG was doing really well, and they're like, yeah, we can do a Battle Royale.
And everybody started doing that.
Literally everybody.
So PUBG is really the guys if they want to make a complaint, but they can't. This is a game mode. This is not something you didn't like. You can't say.
Far Cry is the first game ever to introduce Battle Royale, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Far Cry.
Yeah, Far Cry. The Last Man Standing or something.
There is a lot of games had that last man standing kind of game modes, and this guy basically thought, okay, so I really like this game. I don't know what their thought process is, but this is how games come to be. You shouldn't be trying to create a villain out of it. This is just how games are, right? That's way back then. When shooters came into the market, you have Quake, you have Unreal Tournament, you had Wolfenstein. All the gameplay mechanic was the same, wasn't it? So you didn't hear a lot of people just pointing and saying, "Hey, we're gonna sue you because you were copying us completely. You ripped us off." And no one was like making someone a bad guy who's done a dirty trick. Everyone was just like, "Oh yeah, here's another cool spin on this type of gameplay." And a lot of people were borrowing mechanics and so on and so forth. I think this is healthy for games, to borrow ideas and just make games better. I personally support it.
Ideas.
I mean, that's the whole thing, right? Survival of the fittest. So the other guy, he needs to come up with something better. It's always that's what I think. It's fair enough in my honest opinion. There are certain things that I would go and jump on and say, hey, that's unfair, but this one not so much. And our final topic, since we are on Epic copying Apex and Fortnite and all that, Prince Harry jumped into the fray, and he wants to ban Fortnite outright because he shares Stanny's sentiments, and he thinks these guys need to be put down. So he wants to ban Fortnite in the UK
needs to be
because well, his reasoning behind it is because Fortnite is apparently encouraging game addiction, which is a serious health.
I have a solution for that. Send those kids to the ranch. Send them to the ranch.
Oh God! Don't we all just wish everyone followed the worst things?
Article 13 was passed, but okay.
Yeah.
But I think that banning Fortnite is well, you know what they could do? They could give give some like sort of like a timeout thing, like Candy Crush does, some
Yeah.
sort of thing to fight the addiction.
Yeah, Clash of Clans. Those guys have like
Yes.
certain
Yes.
So you
banning
guys actually
period,
are acknowledging that game addiction is a thing, huh?
Yes,
Oh,
it is
it
a
is
thing.
the
It
thing.
is a
It
thing.
is a
It is a
thing.
thing.
That's
It is a
something
thing.
very interesting, isn't it? Like I heard from like people like very famous game journalists are always like downplaying that whole thing when the main media points out that game addiction is a thing. There, a lot of people in like from YouTube, journalists and influencers, they would be saying like, no, actually there's no such thing as game addiction because it's all about controlling yourself. And I'm like, yeah, exactly, it's all about controlling yourself, and some people can't control themselves. Game addiction is a thing, but it really depends on your circumstances and all that. It's a really complicated topic, but honestly it is a thing.
Yeah,
I mean,
it is.
people are actually like, for an example, this happened in Lancashire. This teenager, he attempted suicide after becoming so obsessed with Fortnite. And
Really?
yeah, and he's like, he took amphetamines and fuel all night.
Now, what was
It's
his
not fair.
reason for wanting to attempt suicide over Fortnite? Did he just lose a game?
Yeah.
Uh,
What was the reason?
Well, actually, I think mostly, I think his parents tried to, stop the game. Like, they tried to pull the game, and he like kind of.
So
You know.
his basically his all his joy was coming out of this game, and when his parents basically tried to stop it, he just despaired. I guess he just
I mean-
wanted to end
I
his
mean,
life. That
they-
was how badly he was feeling about not being able to play more Fortnite.
I mean,
Has
these
anyone introduced him
games-
to Apex?
Oh my god! Oh my god!
He might quit that game though. It's a bit hard.
I mean, actually, I think that it's the parents' fault because, in those days I had a PS2, but still my parents would like intervene and say, okay, now your quota is done and you should go do something else, go and play with your friends or something like
Yeah.
that. It's up to the parents, not the kid, and it's the only way. I think that what game developers should consider is to like create an awareness to fight off game addiction by implementing some sort of mechanism.
Also, here's another thing, right? There are some beings within a household with children called parents. It is really lots of parents would put all the blame that's happening to their kids on various other outside elements, and honestly,
Yeah.
the main responsibility,
It's the
I'm afraid,
parents.
mom and dad, is really with you guys. You need to
Just
keep an eye
beat
on.
Just beat.
Stop swearing on my podcast. God damn it.
It's like Russell Peters says, like, whack. Just
This is a
shit.
Christian channel.
This is a Christian channel. Oh, I see.
As Pewds would say.
I mean, yeah. So for most part, I think that it's a serious thing that devs should actually consider. Like,
Parents need to take responsibility and keep an eye on what their kids are doing and do
Exactly.
the parenting part as well. I know life is tough. You have to maybe do night shifts and your circumstances might be different, but you really need to cultivate your child.
yeah,
And
that's true.
honestly, game addiction, the way these things happen, where does a child spend most of their time in is at home, right? They do get influenced by outside elements, but if the core, which is your home, is a healthy place to be, these problems don't occur. That is why that a lot of parents need to understand that it's not happening to every kid out there. If it's not happening to every kid out there, you need to understand there's something wrong in in what's happening inside your home, and you need to address it. You need to be strong and first accept it's happening and then just address it. It's really hard for human beings, honestly. It's in our nature to want to blame anything else and not yourself, and this is one of the core things, and a lot of people really run away from their responsibilities, and this is yet another thing that needs to be addressed.
Yeah.
And so Prince Harry just banning Fortnite is not the solution. The solution
suggested
is to just help everyone just be better parents.
That's true. I think the parents are the ones.
Because games will always exist. There will be the next, a Fortnite-like
if it's
experience.
not Fortnite, then
Yes,
it's April,
Minecraft
right?
always existed, and Minecraft was a
Yeah.
huge thing. Like small kids were just rushing into it, right?
Yeah.
It's still a huge thing.
It is still a huge thing, exactly. And so this Fortnite didn't suddenly create anything or create an epidemic of game addiction. Fortnite is yet another game experience that is very, very fun. But what he needs to just put in general, what he needs to do is put more awareness about game addiction, why it is caused, how it can be caused, and how parents can fight it. Because honestly, it has happened to me. And I'm sure all of you might have gone through one of those phases where you just can't put a game down for 6 hours when you're a kid. You know, you start. For me, I start playing Halo at like 8 in the morning, and then all of the sudden it's like 6 in the evening, and my mom would come and shout at me. But the great thing is, we're Sri Lankan kids. We get our ass beat. You know,
I could get out of the strip club in GTA San Andreas.
Okay, you
For
see,
like 3
you
hours.
had serious problems. I couldn't get myself into the
I
strip
kept
club.
tipping. I kept tipping all the time, until my parents got me. Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, for me it was more like just in general enjoying some Halo, some Super Smash, and then I get my ass Super Smashed by my parents, and you know what?
Nice.
I turned out all right at the end of the day. I did get very angry about getting my ass smashed, but it's just there is no such thing as just banning a certain game to fix a problem. What you need to do is address the actual situation, which is game addiction. You need to help people out. You need to start programs and educate people. And that is where we leave off these topics for the day. So, guys, that's it for our podcast for today. So thank you very much for tuning in. Stay tuned or check other episodes actually, and make sure to leave a like, a comment, a share, and hit that bell icon to be informed when we have another episode. And of course, subscribe. Share your thoughts in the comment section. We would love to hear from you on all these topics actually. And this has been great. And I'm signing off for now. My name is Achilla Iranga Mohantike, and
Bhupati Sange.
I'm Stanley Fernando.
And
That's pretty much it. Nicely done.
All right.